Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd, and let's share a few pictures today. Most of them, of course, will be wildflowers from our local prairies. Do you see the white Liatris in there? Well, oftentimes you'll see some Liatris that look white because they're still green. They haven't opened up, but there are some white ones out in the prairie. That's a monarch butterfly on a Liatris, and you got several shots of that guy. This is the stem of a gaura plant. I was reading today about gaura, and by the way, this is the 30th of September when I'm saying today. But the gaura there is a tiny native wildflower, and there are many species of gaura. That's a pretty common one, and nearly all of them that exist are actually U.S. natives. That is another type of Liatris, another species, and you notice that the flowers were bunched up very thickly on the stem, and now you see Liatris with a green halictid bee up close, and those are native bees, and they're one of the reasons that you need to add some wild native plants, flowering plants to your yard to support the native bees, which potentially may be helping to pollinate your food crops if you're a local gardener or if you buy from the farmer's market. The native bees are very important. We no longer can be assured of having the wild bees that you grew up with, which are actually imported from Europe when the settlers came and are not native bees. Something's been attacking the hives of bees. So these little green bees, little tiny bees, are very important, as are the many kinds of moths and butterflies. That little tan or grayish looking with white on it is a skipper moth, a day flying moth. That's another gaura flower, and it too illustrates the beauty of really tiny flowers. There's a wonderful butterfly. It's a type of, I think it's called tawny emperor in this case. Now, that's a female tawny emperor, I believe, and it happens to have its wings closed, so I'm not absolutely sure, but there's a difference in the shape of the male and female of that species. That butterfly is called a question mark. You have to see the strange edge on that outer wing there at the bottom. If the wings are closed, you can see the shape of a question mark. So the popular name of this beautiful butterfly is question mark. I think you can see a little hornet or type of wasp. They are close to the butterfly. These butterflies are on this oak tree, and they're trying to enjoy the sap. This, I believe, is the hackberry emperor butterfly, and it's very common where you have hackberry trees. This is one of the excuse me, this is also a type of admiral butterfly, and it's unusually beautiful. You see it with the wings closed from a different angle there. So protect the native plants and protect the native pollinators and all the wonderful butterflies that depend on the various native plants for their sustenance. And I believe that's probably also one of the hackberry butterflies. Depends on hackberry trees. Until next time, this is Aubrey Shepherd asking you to do your part to help keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green. See ya. Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd, and I want to share some more pictures and talk about things like the Arkansas Native Plant Society just a little bit today. Okay, let's click on the pictures and see what we got. There's a tiny yellow flower, and part of the interest of that particular picture is the tiny insect that's on the flower. And you can tell by my fingers, and I'm not a large person, so my fingers are not very large, just how small those flowers are. And that one is, I believe, the smooth-stemmed sensitive plant. It doesn't have, it's not a briar like the other sensitive plant. Now this I don't have a name for, but again, it's special interest, really small flowers and relatively small plants, although a lot of these are tall in proportion to the size of their flower, so that makes it interesting. Well, we don't have many milkweed species in bloom right now, and that one's just about to go to seed. That is the short green or milkweed. There is another example of what I was talking about with the white, in the previous short take, the white Liatris. There's one plant out of about 1,000 in the Pinnacle Prairie area, and of course a lot of those on Pinnacle Prairie have been mowed down, but I haven't seen another white one out there. Now this is clearly right there with this patch of perfect native Liatris, but if you look online, you don't read anything about white ones except from nurseries that sell white ones in the trade. So this is probably an example of a slightly different plant that came up naturally wild in this very wild place. It may have had, it could have been planted there, but you just wouldn't plant one single example like this. And you see how they compare with the normal red ones. So it's fairly rare in my experience, at least, but you know, I don't get everywhere. Here's another of the green, shiny, metallic green halictid bees. Now that is a late example of the whorled milkweed, Asclepias verticillata, and that one's still hanging on, and there's a seed pod on it, and unfortunately a lot of those that I was hoping to get a lot of seed from this year got mowed down recently, and folks that were worried about fire in that prairie area. You normally burn only in the winter. There's an example of a native thistle. You can recognize native thistle because the underside of the leaves are white and not green like the top. So that's a very important butterfly and that food source. And of course that's black swallowtail, one of the several species that are black. That's a swamp milkweed, but it's lost its flowers already, and there's a bone set. The bugs that were on the swamp milkweed were the insects that eat the seeds up. Here's another butterfly on a swamp milkweed. This one's actually one I have as a pet in a pot, I mean a plant at least, and it's growing there, and I keep it well watered, and it's still got some blooms on it. And that is a fritillary. It's called the Great Spangled Fritillary Butterfly, and I know it's not like most of my out in nature shots, but my yard is adjacent to World Peace Wetland Prairie, and we have a lot of the same plants right there in the yard. That's a pearl crescent, or crescent pearl? Anyway, small butterfly. Kindness is contagious. Get the fever? Well, don't get a real fever, but think kindly towards the natural world and the people and pets you may have. Claytonia is the newsletter of the Arkansas Native Plant Society, and it is an important source of information if you want to add some native plants to your yard. So consider joining the Arkansas Native Plant Society. Now that's our big poster from World Peace Wetland Prairie, showing scenes from past year's Earth Day out there. Till next time, this Aubrey Shepherd asks you to do your part, be kind, and help take care of nature in all the ways you can. Thank you.